Before we get to that evening, I just want to ask, because I actually interviewed D Savage for Vlad TV as well.
Yep.
In the documentary, you see D Savage pulling up with the lean.
Uh-huh.
Talk about just, perks aside, I know you were always looking out for him on the lean and telling people not to pour as much as he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Can you elaborate on that? Because I thought that was very noble of you to step up and just look out for him, knowing that, the amount he wanted was insane.
Yeah. I mean, that was Juice. Juice wanted to be the best at everything he did. He wanted to be the best rapper. He wanted to be the best playing video games. He wanted to be the best playing basketball on the driveway. He wanted to be the best at doing wheelies on dirt bikes. You know what I mean? Like, he wanted to be the best fucking lean sipper. You know what I mean? Like, that was just his nature of like doing stuff. And then I sip lean too. Like, I never did pills, like those pills before. Like, you know what I mean? Like, before I met Juice. And then, but I did sip lean, and we would sip lean together and stuff like that. But after a while, his girlfriend really wanted him to stop. So, and I'm like, all right, that's fair. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. And it's like, it's good. If she was like bringing the hammer down on that, like, I don't want him doing lean at all. And like, she didn't want him like mixing the drugs. That was the problem. And, so the consumption of lean went down a lot. But he's also, people don't realize like, he was a young kid. We most of us were all older and stuff like that. But like, he is first it took me a little while to find my place in the group of like when I can, you know what I mean? Cause a lot of them were there already and I kind of came in a little bit later. And, but then when I kind of found got my footing and was like, no, you like started like standing up, like, nah, you doing that. And like, that's stupid. And like, you know what I mean? Things that you would, cause you gotta, there's a line, you know what I mean? Like, you can't be too harsh. Cause then like, what happens if he just gets too pissed and then kicks me out and then I'm not around him anymore. And then I can't do anything to help him. You know what I mean? I can't be there to like still talk to him every day, like try to like convince him or, cause an addict is an addict. They're not going to stop unless they want to stop. Right. So it's like trying to convince them it's a good idea to stop, But Ali came down hard on lean, so he stopped drinking lean. But like I said, he has all the money in the world. He can do what he wants. He's still able to get lean. So if he would get lean, I'd be the one hiding it in my room. If he was like, try to find me lean, it was easier for me like, oh, no one has it right now. You know what I mean? Or like, once in a while we would get it, but the consumption went way down.
Right.
But then also, since I was the one hiding it, he'd be like, go pour this up for me. And he'd be like, go pour me a 4. And I'd be like, all right, yeah, cool. And I'd not be pouring them 4s because it's like, you don't need to be taking that much. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Like, it was just overconsumption. And I was always like, bro, like, we got to be careful. You can't get too fucked up. If Ali catches me sneaking lean, like, I'm going to get in trouble. Right. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to be the one that gets in trouble. Like, so I'm like, I'm scared. I'm not going to get in trouble. So we can't do too much.
What was his reaction to that?
He just laughed.
Oh, okay.
He thought it was funny.
Was there an incident that led Ali to ban lean from the house?
I don't know if it was any one specific incident. I think it was just that, it was just too much. You know what I mean? Like, especially with the pills, and it's just too much.
I know in the last tour you guys had an intervention with him because of the amount of drugs was just out of control. Can you bring us back to that intervention moment and convincing him to go to rehab?
Yeah. It was like the last tour we did Australia, then we went to Japan for his birthday, and then New Zealand, and then back to Australia. When we went to Australia, he definitely partied too hard that night, like way too hard. And then the next morning when I was in the hotel room cleaning up, like packing his bags and stuff like that, and then Max Lord, his engineer, came in and he's cleaning up the studio. He would always set the studio up in the hotel room. Max is kind of the one that started it and was like, because the problem is that like I think originally he ran out of pills on that trip.
Okay.
But Max and I would always have like backups because we knew if he went through real withdrawals, like that could kill him. You know what I mean? Like,
wow.
And like even like brought like, I don't even have like Suboxone. You know what I mean? Like that's something that people use to get off that. And I was trying to like, you can take this and you can wean yourself off them, and you know what I mean? So always trying to convince them like to just slow down, because by that tour was kind of when we saw that he was really ramped up his intake. And then like we're really like, that tour was a big realization of how many pills he was actually doing. Cause people like don't realize like, yeah, he would do pills, but like it wasn't that many at first when when we were first starting to hang out. But then like towards the end, it was a lot.
It was and like 7 on his tongue at one point. I was
there's
like,
that clip in there that I didn't film that clip, but he did that to me one time. I was out in the garage fucking with the dirt bike. He walked out and like we got an argument. Like I pushed him. I was like, don't you fucking ever do that in front of me again. Like, why are you taking that? Like that was like another like towards that like the last few months there where I'm like, this is starting to get out of control. You know what I mean? Like, and that's kind of like when like also we're like, he was the type of dude like, here, you know what I mean? Like I never bought one, be like, yeah, you do one with me tonight or whatever. Like, and I'd be like breaking them in half because those are strong pills, and he's doing multiples like at once. And then I'm like, that's when I was like, nah, you know what I mean? Like, good, I can't be doing this like with you anymore. That's like it's too bad. And then we just didn't know how many he was doing because he wouldn't sit there normally and just do a lot in front of you, but like you might see him do 1 or 2. And then like he would go in a different room, and then he'd go in a different room. You know what I mean? He'd be hiding them in his pocket and like turn around and take it when, So like his addiction was bad, and it ramped up a lot towards the end. And that's when kind of like we all, Max and I especially, went to like, bro, it's gone too far. You know what I mean? So like in Japan, we kind of like, Max brought it up, and it was like, last night was out of control. You know what I mean? The amount is too much. It was like an emotional moment for all of us. It was me, Ali, Juice, and Max in the room.
Was Baby there?
No, it was just us. It was just us 4. And then we flew to New Zealand. And then in New Zealand, we had like 2 vans for us. Everybody got in one van. Then me, Max, and one of his managers got in another van. And Max, I had my headphones on, and Max turns around. I was like, "Hey, Chris," and he's like, "I took my headphones off." And he's like, and he started saying to his manager, and he's like, "Yo, Juice is doing too much. It's gone too far. Like he has to go to rehab. He did X amount last night or whatever." And then that's when his manager was like, "All right," reached out to the other managers, reached out to his mom, reached out to a doctor. It was Pete, yeah. Okay. And then we're in New Zealand. That's when we got to New Zealand. And then we got to the hotel. I think his cousin Sean and Pete pulled him aside, kind of did the same thing, pulled him in a room and talked to him. And that's when it was decided that like, you're going to go to rehab. Like we're going to go back from tour, do your birthday. Pete's going to set the rehab up. And I think Pete was working. I think Pete had it set up for like December 20th or something, or 21st. Like, but I also feel like when we got back, it was the week of his birthday. He went a little hard because it was his birthday week. Maybe he started going a little harder because he knew he had rehab coming up.
Right.
So that also could have like ramped up a little bit at the end there too. So.
Totally.